joy of showing my dad and my mom that I beat the whole school. In 3 days' time, I built the whole house. I don't think I want to live here. Honestly, there is a way of living in this country which is completely different from what I'm used to. Which means my brain capacity is far more capable of what you can handle.
Take one, media.
Pronounce your name?
Moise Darboe. Oh, make it short. Say Moise Darboe.
Moise Darboe.
Yeah.
Growing up in Gambia, what was it like?
I couldn't compare to anywhere else based on the fact that I was very young.
Yeah.
But it was fun and things were a lot more relaxed than compared to what I know now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What area were you grew up in Gambia?
Dipakunda.
Is that the north side, south side of Gambia? I don't know.
God, I don't even know that.
Okay. That was one.
But everybody knows where Dipakunda is.
Yeah.
Yes, it's in the combo. Yeah, in the KMC. Because we have different municipality.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you have Brikama. You know where we are is KMC, which is this side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So you've been to primary school?
Yes,
Gambia?
I have.
And what were you interested in? Sports, anything like that?
School. See, I didn't have a very good emphasis when it comes to school at my younger age because then my parents were not here.
Yeah.
So it wasn't so much of a interesting field for me. So I just go because I have to go.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that was primary school?
That was in primary school.
After primary school, you?
Then my dad returned to the Gambia in 1991.
Yeah.
That is after the war, the civil war in Sierra Leone.
Okay.
And having them living with me under the same roof, with all my siblings and everything.
Yeah.
You see, I love my parents very much.
Yeah.
So I think I pick my drives from their interests or what they expect me to become.
Yeah.
And that's when I start taking school seriously.
Okay. What age are you talking?
That could be somewhere around at the age of 15, 16. And he's a guy that never performed in school at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, anything that had to do with fun, like playing football and all that stuff, I am fully in. But when it comes to, all this other stuff, I'm not really interested.
Okay.
But until I came and to understand them as a person, learn about them, I was between the first 3 in every exams.
Wow.
This is someone who never show up at school. In fact, I'm always late. I'm the last one.
All right.
I'm the last one in the class when they were not around. But then when they come to my life,
yeah.
So that joy of showing my dad and my mom that I beat the whole school.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes not just my class, but the entire school, I beat them up. So,
What?
Yes.
So where were your strengths in?
Well, like I said, I mean, the drive came from just pleasing my parents.
Yeah.
And, because then I have all my siblings around me and everything, so we will bring our results home. So it becomes some kind of a competition, who is doing well and who is not. Then I didn't care about this. But the fact that they come to my life at that point,
Yeah.
and I see what makes them happy, it brings a joy to their faces when you bring a result home, when you're paying for your child to go to school to be educated.
Yeah.
And then when they look at the result, they say, well done, which I never had as a father.
All right.
So having my father there as a male figure, father figure, and my mom, that's where I picked my drive from since then.
So who brought you up? If your parents wasn't around?
My auntie, my dad's elder sister.
Okay.
Yes.
Right.
But she's late now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. What subject were you strong in?
Ooh. I was very good at with art.
Okay.
Art. And generally, I'm actually good with my hands. Things that I feel, touch, and all the stuff. I think that's where my strength really lies.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you was younger, what did you want to be when you get older?
I have no idea when I was young, but I know I am very practical.
Yeah.
My strength is my practicality, you know what I mean, as I said to you. And through my primary school days, actually, one of the people that actually made me realize my strength was a Swedish family. Then we used to write these pen pals, the friends between schools, you know what I mean. And I had to have this family. I think their parents are called Alf and Lillian. And I never expect them to come and visit in the Gambia. So I kept writing to their son and daughter, and they kept writing back to me, exchanging photos when we were young and all that stuff. And they decided they're gonna come on holiday to the Gambia. So when they came over, they brought this thing, you know, that toys that you put together to build a house.
All right.
Yeah, so at the time that was very complex for me, but I never seen one, I never had to play with it.
Yeah.
And it has a diagram in the box at the same time, what you can do with it, with doors and windows and all that stuff, roofing and all that stuff. So he asked me to build it, and this was right on the pool side. I spent my whole time, because I was more curious than anything else, you know what I mean? I had the energy to sit there for hours trying to figure this out. And I built it to a point whereby I was left with the door. I forgot to fix it. Well, I didn't actually fix the door. I didn't know how do I get this door hooked into that. Then we have to go back to the book again and then looked at it again. He said, you're gonna have to redo all of this because all this has to come out. You can't fit it in there now. So in 3 days' time, I built the whole house. And that's when they decided that they want to take me to Sweden to go and do some practical studies with them.
What age did you say it was?
Oh, I can't remember. That could be what?
Teenager?
When I met them,
Yeah.
I could be between 10 and 15. I could be somewhere around that.
Yeah.
Yes. And then they approached my parents, because the husband is actually a carpenter as a profession. So he deals with woods in Sweden. So he wanted me to go and he would teach me and everything. But then my dad wasn't keen on the idea. And then I missed that opportunity. I'm not sure whether I should call it an opportunity or I should call it something else. Because at the later part, I asked my dad, why did you not let me go and have a further education? And then he said to me, you were too young. When you go there at that age, by the time you come back, you will not be you. You'll be somebody else. You'll forget your culture, your tradition, your family network and all that stuff. You become a stranger in your own family. And that is true. I learned that because even coming back from England, coming to this country, I have to find my way to reconnect again. Because people have dispersed in the sense that some travel, some late, some doing different things, some take up families and stuff like that. So you don't see them. So you see new faces.
Okay.
Yes.
When you went to high school?
I did. I went to Newsrat High.
Where is that?
It's in Bundung. It's actually one of the best schools in the country at the time.
Oh, is that private school?
I think partially.
Okay.
But yeah, so it's actually a very good school. When I was leaving my junior secondary school, when I was leaving my primary school to go to junior secondary school, I aimed for Newsrat High School. Yeah. And then I was just much away from the actual mark that I needed, and they wouldn't let me in.
Wow.
And I got mad. and I went to a different school. I wouldn't want to name it, but it wasn't the best school, just to get through my secondary school. And then I was doing very well. I was beating the whole school in most of the subject, just to aim for the high school of Newstrat. And this time I don't want them to tell me that I don't have the right criteria to admit into that school. So I came with flying colors. So this time I don't have to beg, I don't have to talk to anybody. I just show up with my result in my hand. And that's it. Yes.
I never asked you, what was life like in Gambia as, were you poor or were you? Lots of poor people in Gambia, and it's Africa as well, and that.
For me, it depends what you define as poor. Yeah, personally, I didn't feel like I was poor in a sense that because I was very happy.
Okay.
And I don't understand what poor means, because then I eat 3-4 times a day.
Okay.
I go to school, I sleep very well, I drink clean water, I play football, I do everything that kids do. So how do I class myself as poor in that? You know, is it money? I am not looking for money at the time.
Yeah.
I'm just going to school to learn something.
So you didn't know no difference then?
No, not at all.
Okay. School now, after school now, what did you study after secondary school?
After secondary school?
Yeah.
Like, you mean in high school?
High school, yeah, high school.
I was a commercial student. Well, I was doing commerce and under business management.
Okay.
Yeah, and I did a bit of economics at the same time.
All right.
Yes.
And were you going out at the same time studying, partying and everything with your friends?
When I was young, I don't think I party like going out clubbing and all that. I didn't know what club is at the time.
Wow.
Yes, I don't go anywhere. The only time, what I'll do is I'll play football with my friends, or normally we play in our street in front of our houses and stuff like that, or to a football pitch. And the other thing we do is I do farming for my dad. I go to the farm, do some cultivation of peanuts and so forth, and we do a lot of gardening as well for vegetables. And there was a time when my dad was exporting to a different part of the world with vegetables that we cultivated and then send it over there. So yes, I was doing that for my family at the same time, you know, having fun with my friends and schoolmates, playing football. And so occasionally we have some parties like after school, but that's organized by the school itself. We do excursions and stuff like that, but nothing to do with what now we call party, as in going clubbing, drinking away, getting high or whatever. No, I didn't experience any of that.
Your English is very well. Very well spoken English. Have you traveled?
Yes, I did. I traveled quite a lot, actually. Yes.
Have you ever lived into another country like?
I did. I lived in the UK for like 16, 17 years.
Okay.
Yes. I think I left the Gambia when I was 19, heading into my 20s. Yes.
And why UK?
Well, my sister was the one that encouraged me to go and see different part of the world, and also to actually develop myself as a person. And then we have options of different countries, but then I know Gambia is ex-colony of the British, and then we're English-speaking country officially, and I think it would have made sense to go to an English-speaking country rather than going to Germany, where I'm gonna start fresh and start speaking Dutch or going to school and all that stuff. So based on that reason, I sense struggle of communication in any part of the world that doesn't speak English. You understand? And for America at the time, I don't think I know anyone there that I can actually relate to as a family. But then in England, a few friends I know, they live there. And then also my sister also lived there. So I choose England.
Going over to England, were you excited?
I was when I was fighting to go there, to be honest, because I was curious and I was also motivated by people who travel over there, and when they come over, I mean, they have a different lifestyle altogether. I mean, sometimes, you know, when you're young, you may not have a realistic dream. You move by what you see in the street, like when you see big boys with big cars and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? So those are, for me, they are premature way of, you know what I mean, looking at how you want to navigate in life. You know, today, I don't think that's all about life. But then when I was young, obviously, I want to drive big cars like that. And I'm thinking, one day I'll be traveling to this country and I'll come here with a big car and stuff like that. So which goes for most young people anyway in the world, you know, because we class Europe as, you know, a privileged country, so whereby you can actually be educated and make money and everything. But then when I went in there,
Culture shock now.
Oh man, you won't believe it. You'll be surprised. The very day I landed at the Heathrow airport, and I got a friend that picked me up driving all the way there. By the time we get to our destination, you know, driving through London, I said to the driver, I don't think I want to live here. Honestly, that was the very first night I told him.
Why?
He just laughed. He couldn't believe what he just heard. He said, you've been fighting all those years to come over here, and just for you to land in the first hour or so, you're telling me you don't think you're going to live here. I said, I haven't seen one single soul in the street. He said to me, it's at night. Yes, I said, I know it's at night. But the place is cold, that also forced them to be inside. People are caged in here. I'm not used to that. I'm more of an outdoor person, you know, running up and down, doing things. And here, I can't see anybody. You know what I mean? How do I even supposed to connect with this society? So I have no idea where I'm going to start. So I start pointing places to him. I said, look, it's like a ghost town. You know, so that was, yeah, when I arrived, definitely it was a shock for me, and automatically I resent the place automatically. And also, I cannot adjust to the weather because that was around February. It was cold. Wow. So there is no amount of jacket I can put on and I feel warmer. I still feel cold. Then I was lost skinny as well, no fats, just meat. So what I end up realizing, the jackets I wear get colder, so they keep my body temperature even cooler. So no, I was very uncomfortable. Wow. Very, very uncomfortable.
So that's what you remember the first day you went?
That's my first day when I arrived.
What about reaching your sister's house?
No, then my sister wasn't in the country. So I had to go and stay with a friend until she arrived. But also that was one of the most, that's the craziest night for me. I couldn't sleep till in the morning because there was no heater. You see,
February?
Wow. Well, let me tell you this. Then I don't know that I need a heater in a room because I never used one. I never had to. So I never asked that questions. And then when it's time to shower, the place I went in, I couldn't use the hot water. So I washed with the cold water. My brother, that night, it was a crazy night for me. I washed with the cold water and then tried to keep myself warm in bed in a cold house. Wow. And then the next day, I contacted one of my other friends that took me around and stuff like that. And then he started explaining things to me. So we put two and two together and like, okay, there's a way of living in this country which is completely different from what I'm used to. Even my dressing and everything and the shoes that I wear. My toes were always cold. My palms are cold. And for me, these two things, when they get cold, my palms and feet,
Yes.
that's it, man. I'm done.
Oh, that's it. That's me. Yeah.
I am done. There's nothing I can do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can't sleep. You become very uncomfortable. You don't want to do anything. You just want to get warm. So it wasn't a good experience for me to start with. Yes. But then when I started going to school, studying and do a part-time job, I was a helper in a warehouse, this packaging stuff.
Oh, this is London?
This is in London, yes.
Okay.
Then I know I need to earn money to live. Yes. No more freebies where your parents catered for you. You don't even think where food come from. You know, between midday and 2 p.m., food will be ready for you automatically without thinking about it. In the morning, between 7 o'clock and 9 o'clock, you'll have something to eat. In the evening, between 7 o'clock and 8 o'clock in the evening, you'll be eating.
This is Gambia?
This is Gambia.
Oh,
and then in England, I have to pay for every single one of those.
Welcome to reality.
That's when I really start appreciating where I come from. And then I started to look at things, comparing things all the time. Then I said, we are lucky we don't even realize it. You know what I mean? But then...
Well, 1 minute.
Go on.
What did you study when you went to England?
I was doing web design.
Web design?
Correct. But for the wrong reasons.
Okay.
Because at the time when I was in the UK, it's more or less like a fashion to people. If you don't know how to do web design, you're actually not within the right set of people. So, and I was fascinated about it, especially when you create these animations, making things move, clicking on icon, producing some interfaces and all that stuff. So I find it very interesting and very intriguing. So I didn't go for the for actually the love of it, and I didn't actually do a proper research to understand why do I even need to be a web designer. But then I just like the fact that all the effect that you put together, that knowledge you build together, and you start moving, doing things and all that stuff. That's what I liked about it. I never look at it as a point of being taking it up to an entrepreneur's level and all that stuff. But then I had one teacher called Duncan. He is a very good guy, and he was very, very patient. Because coming from this part of the world, going over there, knowing that English is your second language, people seem to look at you as either you're stupid or you don't know what's up. You understand? Because you may speak slow and you may not understand some of the way they speak the English, because it's only some offices are experience a clear English without no accent. But in a lot of other places, you come across cockneys, chavs, and all this, so you don't even know how to speak anymore. So when they use those languages, sometimes it throws me off a bit, because then I don't understand. But then they look at me as if I'm slow. And one time I said to one of them, this guy is called, well, let me not call his name. Yeah, but then he ended up becoming a good friend, and we're still in touch. He is black British, born and raised in Britain. And he said to me, Mo, they shorten my name to Mo. He is slow, because then they look at me as an African man that joined their class. And then we used to have this misunderstanding a lot. When I speak, they will laugh. You understand? But then one day, I had to show them that I am not afraid, actually, at all. And I'm not stupid, and I'm not slow. I make them understand that English is not my language. It's something that I was taught to actually learn. You are born and automatically find yourself speaking this language. I said, let me tell you how strong I am compared to you. I had to teach him a little bit of being black, what it really means coming from another country to another. Yeah. I said to him, the fact that I speak my language friendly and you don't have one clue of what I can say to you in my language. I said, that tell you I beat your time. And there's nothing you can use in English that I don't understand. And there's nothing you can write that I don't understand. Which means my brain capacity is far more capable of what you can handle. Wow. So I had to teach him the hard way to not to look at people because language barrier and start to, categorize them as being weak or slow or stupid. I said, believe me, if I have to travel all this way to find you here, why don't you ask me how did I get here and what am I doing here? Maybe you learn a thing or two. If I take you to the other end, you're lost. You know what I mean? You may speak English. Not everybody speaks English over there. But here you go. Everything I said to you, you understand me. And here you go. I am here in the same class with you. You call me slow and we're competing. And I beat your ass time to time.
So is it like Caribbean?
Yeah, so we end up, that's when his mind started to open up, to understand these people are not actually stupid. They just come from a different environment, and they're not used to what we used to. And they actually had to learn English, but they already have their, biological language that they speak, which they don't have a clue about. And the fact that I can see both the Western life and the African life, precisely Gambia, I know a little bit more than them. You understand? So I find myself far more stronger than they are. And I think they're just privileged and they don't even realize it. And they don't even appreciate it because they don't know any better. You understand? So therefore, whatever they had to fight for in England, I have to fight for it 10 times harder. You understand? Because I'm being automatically classed as not able or not qualified or slow, and so I have to really prove myself. And the funny thing is, when we go in a different direction in our education level until we start getting family and then work and all that stuff, we end up sharing an open office one time in Canary Wharf. Oh yeah, hot desk. I came up into my hot desk. So he's there. So as soon as I turned, I said, what? He couldn't believe I am there.
How far you reach? Yeah.
I said to him, what you doing? He said, I'm doing programming. Wow. I said, well, I'm your network engineer. This whole building, we did the whole infrastructure.
Wow.
All the cabling, all the network, all the IP address, the domain controller, we set that up. Basically, we give you right to actually operate where you set it. He said, no, you done well. I said, what do you expect? I was competitive on the ground from the first day. I said, hey, did you still think I'm slow? They said, man, that's history, man. I know better now.
Yeah. You have to forgive him.
Yeah, of course. Since then, we keep in touch. We talk about businesses outside of the UK and a lot of stuff, you know what I mean? So, yeah, I think he traveled the world as well now, and then he see what I was saying now, So, yeah.
From web design.
Okay. One time we had a dissertation to submit, and I find out I was weak on my design because I don't have the answers that I needed and when I need them. And there was this particular lady, is a British lady, but I don't think she was quite with it. I think our group was unfortunate to be taught by her, in a sense that when we have a query, she will go for like hours to tell us what we need to know. And then by the time she gets to the answer or what we're querying, I'm already lost in the middle of it. So I see this is not working for me, and I'm gonna submit something that is inconclusive, because there's some of the programs, you know, there are 1 or 2 things that you need for it to function as a web and all that stuff. And she couldn't answer them, even when we're doing animation and stuff like that. She couldn't dare and dare. So I lose time to my dissertation.
Yeah.
So I went to meet my main teacher, who is Duncan. I said to Duncan, look, I don't think I'm gonna do very well in this, because I don't think my teacher is good, and I don't want to say it because then she may be mad at me. She may not beat me or something like that, but she will give me a cold shoulder. So she may not be even willing to answer some of these questions, and she get agitated when I ask this question because she doesn't know it, and she doesn't want to look like she doesn't know it. So she just gave me the runaround. How do I solve it? Okay, we'll take it to the teacher's level and all that stuff, but then that doesn't help me. You understand? So that's what had happened there. So Duncan came back to me and said, you know what you can do? Take a week off. Yeah. Think about what you're really good at. You understand? For me, when he said that, I couldn't understand, because at this point, the fault is with the teacher.
Yeah.
I am here to learn, and I couldn't get all my queries answered. So I think you need to replace the teacher, but then to turn around and tell me that, take a week off and think of what you're good at or what you love doing. I took a week off in a good faith, and I started thinking about myself when I was young. All the electronic stuff in my mom's room, all this fan, you know, we used fan here at the time before AC, these fanners. They have a lot of wiring into their close component at the back of it, and also those buttons. Sometimes you lose the button itself. You'll see a slot where this plastic go in, the push button and all that stuff. When it's really rusty, you cannot get the electric to pass through the cable in order for the fan to function. So I learned to clean them, open them all. So it gave me this whole day to sit there, just open up, cleaning, to see where the contactors are, where is it shooting with electricity and all that stuff. So I put the radios together, because then radio was a big thing in the country. Everybody, you know, listened to that basically. So I was playing with electronic stuff at that time. And I see the passion, because if I don't have the passion for it, I won't spend that time on it. And I never give up. Until I hear the speaker make a noise, I won't stop. And sometimes I remember my aunt will just take my stuff and throw them in the bin, because I open things and I leave them there, then I'll go to school. When I come back, then I got them all mixed up. So I get really mad. You know what I mean? So to them, I'm taking up all the place, and I don't leave there alone, which is understandable, and they can just step on it and trip on it. But then I don't have a room of my own. You know, so I don't have that privilege to cage it somewhere where I will left it the way I want it, and when I get back, get to it that way. And I developed to remember everything, like wherever I take screws out. Then there was no mobile, or well, I don't have the luxury to take pictures of what I'm opening, so that I can actually catch up exactly what it was like before I dismantled it. So I had to store this in my mind. I have to count the screw, and I need to make sure all the screw goes back. You understand? So it was a very practical way, a strong practical way to connect with electronic devices when I pull them apart, to remember where everything went. Gradually, my mind was built that way. So if I take a computer here right now, or a laptop, I'll put it all back in. You understand? At this level, for me, it's like a no-brainer work. I can drive through it real quick. Within 20 minutes, I'll open it into parts completely.
What?
Yes. You give me another 20 minutes, I'll assemble the whole thing. I had to do that when I even started working for some of these big companies, just to prove to them that I am ready and I'm fast. So that's when I come back to him. I said to him, look, I'm good with my hands. He said to me, what do you mean you're good with your hands? I said, I like, you know, I mean, dismantling things and put them together and try to see that they function, you know. He said to me, I got something for you. You should do A+. that is to do with hardware with computers, and see how you get on with that. Then we get you into networking. So they asked me to go to somewhere so that they can test where is my level in terms of skill is. To make long story short, I went there and then I met few people there who are like me as well. And it was easier for me to drive through a computer real quick, dismantle it, put it all back together, and then turn it on, it come back on. Wow. Nothing was missing, no screw was missing, boom. He said to my brother, this is your future. Wow. And he was right. At the time, that was my future. And I built enthusiasm about it. I got beyond it to learn about networking. I got beyond it to learn about how to integrate software and electronics together. So now I don't only put hardware together, but I also get it to communicate with the software. To a point, I start developing batch files so that they can do certain effects for me, in a computer and all that stuff. So I like it, and I move forward. I done my A+, and then I went for MCSE, Microsoft System Engineering, I think so. I did my MCSE and MCSA, and I come out really good. So you'll have about maybe 20 computers in a room. I'll build a domain controller on a software, prepare it like the control system of the network, and then force every computer to log into the domain in order to access whatever you need. And I try and control what you can access on the computer. I can even lock your programs. You cannot change anything. You cannot right click to go to properties, nothing. Wow. So that is to actually see how far I can go with controlling the devices. So I was doing all of this. So it gets to a point we all become very good in the class. So the moment we are there, you see someone's computer is shutting down because somebody forced it to shut down and you can't control it because they build themselves as a controller in the class. You understand? So we have this fun of like playing games with each other. So what I end up realizing that when the teacher said, okay, turn your computers on, but then you need to be on a client computer in order for teacher to monitor what you're doing and able to use the projection and all that stuff. So what I did, on one hard drive, I partitioned the hard drive, built a client OS on the one, and the other one did as a domain controller. When I come live domain controller, that is when the teacher is not in class, I bully everyone. So when the teacher come back and say, let's turn on computer, I don't have to reinstall it. I just go back to client. I just switch. And then I'm there, so I'm good. So I find that interesting, and I find that really good. And then by the time we finish that, they got a job lined up for us, like work experience, to go and actually explore our skills. UCLH, the hospital, when it got rebuilt, the new one, I was one of the engineers to put all the...
in London?
Yeah, yes, in London. And I was one of the lucky people to go in there to work there with my skills. Unpaid, they just gave us lunch.
What?
Unpaid, zero.
What?
Oh yeah. Unpaid. This is in England, man, I'm telling you.
Oh, that's crazy.
But I was happy to go,
yeah,
because I know I was ready to go out there in the real world.
Before that, how long were you studying this?
Say again?
How long were you studying this before?
Oh, I think just a year.
It was just a year?
It was just a year. Well, this is the thing. I don't want to be spending too much time on academical knowledge and stuff, because I know I'm good with my hands. So practical stuff, yeah, I'll fly through them. So I'd rather do short courses that I can do something with it real quick than go and start getting a degree on something for too long. And you see, that's one of the reasons I actually like Britain. If they can prove your knowledge beyond reasonable doubt, you can actually implement it, then they're happy to give you a chance. What's important to execute, properly and professionally. So which is what I had. And then I live my life throughout by doing this. I never had one person saying to me, provide your certification until I leave. Because when they look at my CV and see the companies I work for after that, they don't even question it. Sometimes I feel like they get threatened on an interview because then you ask question, I ask certain question, then you're like, oh, I don't want to go far with this guy. He probably will know where my knowledge level is at. Because I had to learn. I have failed so many interviews to actually understand the technique of an interviewer. So I challenge them. And then they withdraw all the bad questions. Or all the technical or complicated questions. But yeah, from there, I went to this UCLH building. So at first they were using it to carry boxes in every rooms and all that stuff. I get bored with that. I said to my manager, I want to do something. I don't want to carry boxes. Tell me, carry it, build it, and put it together. Yeah. Then I'll be happy. But I don't want to just carry. I can do this all day. He said, well, if you don't carry where they're going to go, how are you going to build them? I said, okay, fair point. Let's carry them then. You know, he said to me, you'll get them. So I learned to patient until we set them all up. And then we start putting these things together. And I can tell you something I experienced as well. One of them got fired, one of our team members, because everybody was hoping to be employed after that project based on your performance. So we the newbies, I would say, or inexperienced in the real world, they will put us in one area. So when it goes wrong, the most experienced people can come and rectify it. So when they get it right, they tick it for us and then we move on. So we end up playing the same game that we play in school, in the classroom. So let's say you gave me a set of IP address that I'll be joining my machine to the domain. Yeah. You had your range, I had my range, you had your range. Guess what this person gonna do? He's gonna work with my range. And then anytime I try to use mine to go into the network, it's a conflict of IP. Obviously he's using mine. You cannot get into the system because you have the same identical IPs into the system. So I realize what they've done, but I don't want to go and take any other range because they already know what range they've given me. So eventually when they said, Moise, how comes you couldn't put one system together? I said, they're all ready to join the domain. The only problem is I think somebody is using my IP addresses because it's all conflicting with the system. So they tried it. They said, but your IPs are already sitting on the domain with this registry mark and all that stuff. I say, I know. But then I don't want to be petty, but I know they're playing games. So they went and find out who he was. He got sacked on the spot. Yeah, he got sacked on the spot. And they were aiming for that. So it's like, I don't know. I want to do it fast. I want to do it quick. I want to make you look bad. But then the truth is there. With technology, you can't really fool it in certain ways. So my set is in my hand, but they're also in the system. So I cannot join them unless they're giving me the preferred range. I could have used what they left, but that wasn't given to me. You understand? So yeah, I experienced that too. So we start working in the UCL and we were doing very well. And then once the project is done, they narrow our team down, they scale it down. And I'm actually one of the last people that leave that place.
How long did you spend it?
Huh?
How long did you spend it?
We spent a year putting the whole system together with the network and everything. From suppliers, distributing, because the company that was responsible for the delivery, we were working for those companies, because then they were the one who were gonna hire us to actually work for their clients. So from delivery point to carrying and installing, joining to domain, signing all off, and then from there we start moving into printers, you know, phase by phase, phase by phase, phase by phase. We did all of that. But yeah, I mean, There's one particular area I wanted to mention sometimes, how, the struggle that you go through in life when you're going through this kind of stuff. When I was actually going to study, when I was studying this MCSC,
Yeah.
I was homeless
Ooh.
in England.
No, yeah, that's what I'm hearing about.
I was homeless for 3 months, and I was sleeping on train stations.
What?
Yes, I was sleeping on train stations. I have my family around, but I never shout for help.
Why? You had your sister in England at the time.
Of course,
And friends.
friends, yes.
And you were studying at university? You was going to university to study?
At the same time, and the only person that picked that up is one of my head teacher. He is from one of the Caribbean country. For me, that guy is a genius. You see, what I was losing from the first place that I start,
Yeah.
these guys answer everything straight on. You put it into practical, you see exactly what he tells you. He said to me, Mo, what you may be reading in the book, you may have it differently in practicality. Some of these methods in the books, you cannot apply it practically, but it's not explained in the book. But once you're doing the practical part, it's actually a lot more easier to do it in certain ways than the book, because we were talking about DNS configuration. I don't remember exactly whether he was mentioning to actually either create a DNS first before the DHCP or the DHCP before the DNS. You know what I mean? Otherwise, it creates some kind of conflict and issues within the network. He said, you cannot learn this on the book. You have to do it to understand how it works easily, and you do it. I have a lot of respect for that guy because he's the one who picked my homelessness.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't coming to, with fresh looks. My clothes are rough, and we have to look smart. We have to wear black trousers and a tie and a white shirt. So, and I had no money. He had to bring a tie from home and give me one and show me how to tie it as well. And he said to me, my brother, I understand what you're going through. He said, can you get help? And all that stuff. I didn't want to explain so much. And sometimes he'd buy me a lunch. You know what I mean? He was very concerned because there was an incident where the first batch that they wanted to go to this UCLH building, he's a teacher, so they got him to recommend who are the people that they believe they're ready to go.
Yeah.
I was top of that list. But then I got pulled out by the guy that is responsible to actually take us to the client.
Why is this?
Because they said I don't, my dress code wasn't
Ooh.
right.
Fit the attire?
Yes, because I wasn't neat enough to come to school, and I'm always without a tie, but they don't know I cannot afford tie because I don't have one. And my shirt is always rumpled, and they want to create an image because they're hoping to hire us in this work. So therefore, appearance is a key. So, but they don't know my homeless, but my teacher know about this. He said to him, well, don't worry, let them go. That's when he started using his own money, buying me shirt, and you know what I mean? So,
Wow.
yes. And when the second batch came, well, actually before that, the first batch, they were all expelled. They got rid of all of them. I don't know what happened there. They all came back to the school.
Huh?
Yes, so I was looking at it and enjoying that one. So it worked out for me just perfectly. I don't know what went there because I know some of them were very good, but they got rid of all of them. They all came back. So I fall into the second batch now. And that's the batch that stays till the end of the project. And it got 5 of us that they employed. That was my first employment on a professional capacity to work as an IT engineer. And we were dealing with Fujitsu product. And when I find out who we're working for, the company is called Bates IT. Okay. I think one of the owners is called Gary. He said to me, Moise, you'll be more useful for me if you drive. He said, the amount of work you do in a day, if you can also drive, it will be perfect. But I don't have a license. I know how to drive, just don't have a license. I told him this. Then they got me a vehicle, a BMW.
What?
3 Series at a time, man. We're talking about somewhere around 2005.
Yeah.
3 Series, brand new. And then got me a driver. The delivery van.
You're a driver?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. They got me a driver, got me a phone, got me a laptop. And then this driver will come and pick me from my house. That's when I know the job I'm doing is a lot for them. Yes, it's a lot. And the fact that I can go into one hospital and actually upgrade the whole entire system without no help of any other engineers.
What?
I was capable of working on my own. And I'm also faster alone. Yes. So I think they know the chart of who is scoring what and who is doing more. Because I end up having that problem after working for the NHS. Yeah. Whereas when I set of team, I'm just going to deviate this just to give you an idea why I'm saying that. A set of team together, they have this software that they design. In the chart, real life, you can see who is doing what. So I need to execute 8, everybody, all engineers have to execute 8 logs of problems from different customers, basically. I used to go to 22 in the day before the even day ends. From 7 o'clock to 1 o'clock, I will already do what is expected of me in the day.
So you could go on by 1?
Well,
yeah.
What I used to do, I'll take 2 hours out of that and I'll take my daughter to the park, play for a bit, relax my mind and all that, drive around a bit and then come back. Return my daughter and then come back and then start again. By the time it's 5, I'll double my day's work. And some engineers start saying that you're making us look bad.
Obviously.
And these are some of the engineers that are my seniors. And they said to me, look, you need to slow down a bit. We keep it at the same space. Otherwise, it'll cause problems and things. But then, for me, I don't know. When I go into work, I give it all. You know what I mean? So they're not happy with me. And then my manager understand that. He had to take me off their daily performance and take me on the backlog that's been there for like a year or 2. That's never been solved. They are critical faults. Because he see that I execute. This is a guy, when he goes in, he finished the job. There's no comeback. And that's how I was working. I'll give the time that's required to actually done the job properly and correctly. Some will just leave it hanging and you know it's gonna fail. Probably a day or 2, maybe about a week later. You know what I mean? I will actually exhaust every possibility to make sure it doesn't fail for a long time unless something really drastically go wrong with it. So my method of working with was very different. Mine was very thorough. It's the locations and the wetland that's right in front of it, and the grain, and the fact that you have a river that flows through it. This is why I created these individual rooms that are not attached to each other. Everywhere you can access it from the airport on both directions.
What area is this?
This is Kotu Golf area.